there. Today I'm going to be talking about vocabulary instruction and why it's important, how it's used, and things like that. So the first thing to talk about is what is vocabulary instruction. So according to Teaching Reading Sourcebook, vocabulary is the knowledge of words and word meaning. Although it's a pretty simple definition, vocabulary instruction involves much more than just looking up the words and defining them or using them in a sentence. Stephen Stahl, who's a literary scholar, says that vocabulary knowledge is knowledge. The knowledge of a word not only implies a definition, but it also implies how that word fits into the world. So we're going to look at why it's so important. So vocabulary instruction is important because there are many links between vocabulary instruction and comprehension of texts. And as a student's education progresses, their comprehension of text gets more and more important. It's where they get their knowledge for their lessons, and it's really important that they comprehend, and comprehension comes from vocabulary knowledge. It's been shown that students who have a higher vocabulary knowledge are more able to comprehend their text, but also fluency is important. So it's not just what words you know, but it's how you read as well. So when is it used? Vocabulary instruction can start before a child even enters school. So talking to kids about what words mean and how we know what they mean and things like that is really important. So studies show that most kids know over 1,000 words before they finish third grade. So that knowledge has to start pretty early. And by fourth grade, students should have a knowledge of finding context clues to determine the meaning of a word that's unfamiliar to them. So that's a really important skill as well. So how it's applied. Vocabulary is learned through explicit instruction as well as word learning strategies, and it's also acquired sort of incidentally through indirect exposure to the world. So that's just like talking about what a word means in general. The activity I want to talk about today is called a word wheel activity. So how you're going to do this activity is you're going to first start with your list of vocabulary words that you've gotten from your text, and then you've taken them through the 3-tier system to make sure that they're good for you to explicitly talk about. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to model for your class how to fill in a word wheel chart. So this is, you would put your word in the middle, and then you'd find a picture, a definition, a synonym, an acronym or an antonym, chunks of the words that I know, and then related words. So this is just a nice visual wheel to help you define and find the characteristics of a specific word. So once that you've modeled how to do this, you're going to finish by using the word in a sentence. And by using that word in a sentence, you show that you know how to use the word, what the word means, and all the characteristics of the word. So then the last part of this is you'd assign your vocabulary words out to your students, and each student would have independent time to fill out a word wheel themselves. That word wheel you'd be able to use as the assessment for the lesson. You'd also be able to use your just regular spelling test and definitions as an assessment. So the word wheel activity does a really good job of showing you not just the definition of the word, but also how you can use it and the characteristics of it. Thanks!